We've all seen AI on our screens, right? Well, that's about to change. We're talking about the moment AI literally steps out of the digital world and into ours. And right now, China is at the forefront of this revolution. They're giving AI bodies, senses that are almost superhuman, and a brain that can remember in a totally new way. So let's get into it. How exactly are they building a being?
You know, for as long as we've had it, AI has basically been a ghost in the machine, right? Just code living inside our computers. But that's not the story anymore. It's stepping out. This isn't just a small step, it's a huge shift. AI is getting a physical body, and the stuff coming out of China right now is really pushing the boundaries and showing us what this new world of embodied intelligence is going to look like.
Okay, so first things first, how do you even give an AI a body? Well, what's fascinating in China is that they don't have just one answer. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Instead, we're seeing two totally different but super important strategies emerging at the exact same time.
All right, first up, let me introduce you to Tiangong 3.0. And no, this is not just some clunky prototype stuck in a lab. This is a full-size humanoid robot designed to handle the messiness of the real world. Its headline feature is something they're calling Touch Interactive Whole Body Control. Think about what that means. It's a robot that can feel what it touches, react on the fly, and use its entire body to move through spaces that aren't perfectly flat and predictable. We're talking about climbing over obstacles more than a meter high, and then, get this, still being able to do delicate industrial work with millimeter-level accuracy. That's a massive deal for any robot that has to leave the safety of a factory.
And this is where we see those two different philosophies I mentioned, and both are playing for total market dominance. So on one hand, you've got Tiangong 3.0. It's designed to be this flexible, open platform. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like the Android of humanoid robots, a base that other developers can build on top of. Then, on the other side, you've got Geno1 from Geek. This thing is a specialist. It's built for one job and one job only, warehouse logistics. And here's the kicker. It's not a concept. It's ready for mass production right now. So you have the generalist building an ecosystem versus the specialist solving a problem today. And both of these approaches are pushing the whole industry forward at like a breakneck pace.
Okay, having a body is a great start. But to actually get around in the real world, you need senses, right? You need to see, to perceive, and this leads us to our next piece of the puzzle, a truly major breakthrough in how robots see. And it's a breakthrough that's taking its cues directly from the natural world.
So check this out. Researchers at the Chinese Academy of Sciences have created an artificial compound eye. And the inspiration? A fruit fly. I mean, look at this thing. It's smaller than a grain of rice. But this tiny little sensor gives a robot an absolutely mind-blowing 180-degree field of view. So the machine can see what's in front of it and what's coming from the sides all at the same time without moving its head at all. It is just an incredible piece of bio-inspired engineering.
But it gets even better. This is where it gets really, really clever. The researchers didn't stop at just vision. They actually built a chemical sensor right into the eye. So in one tiny package, a robot gets that super wide-angle vision and the ability to smell for hazardous gases. Just think about that for small drones or robots that have to inspect dangerous areas. It's a total game changer. You're cutting down on weight, you're making things less complex, and you're adding this hugely important safety feature.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got a body. We've got these incredible, advanced senses. Now, how do you connect it all? What's the brain that makes it all work? Well, you need a different kind of brain, one that isn't designed for surfing the web, but for navigating the real, physical world, a world that exists in space and time.
You know, one of the biggest problems for robots historically has been memory. Seriously, most of them have the memory of a goldfish. They just see the world as a string of separate moments with no connection between them. But this new model from Alibaba, called RenBrain, is tackling this head-on with something called spatiotemporal memory. Now, what does that actually mean? It means the robot doesn't just see someone walk behind a car and then forget they ever existed. No, it remembers they're there, it can predict where they're going to pop out, and it can even look back at its own actions to learn from its mistakes. This is a brain that actually gets how time works.
So you might be asking, okay, but how good is it really? Well, the proof, as they say, is in the pudding. RenBrain didn't just do well, it shattered records. 16 of them. It broke records across 16 different embodied AI benchmarks. We're talking about outperforming systems from huge players like Google and NVIDIA on the tasks that actually matter in the physical world: seeing, thinking, and doing. That number, 16, really says it all.
So we've got the whole package, right?
Robots with bodies, superhuman senses, and a brain that remembers. But what if the best body isn't one you build from scratch? What if it's one you borrow? This is where things get really wild. This is where the line between animal, machine, and AI just starts to melt away, and we enter some pretty crazy territory.
And I want to be clear, this is not science fiction. This is happening now. A Russian startup has already shown this is possible by turning pigeons into basically brain-controlled drones. The process is shockingly straightforward. First, you implant these tiny electrodes in the pigeon's brain. Then, you strap on a little backpack with a camera, a controller, some solar panels, and a GPS. And finally, you just send electrical signals to guide the bird exactly where you want it to go, all while it's recording video. It's proof that this global race to merge biology with machines is already on.
And that really gets to the heart of what's happening here. There's a quote from one of the sources that just nails it. Animal, robot, and AI are starting to blur into one continuous spectrum of tools. Just think about that for a second. We're not talking about these things as separate categories anymore. What we're witnessing is the beginning of a new reality where you can fuse biology and technology together to create things we've never seen before.
So, when you put it all together, robots that can walk around our messy world, senses that copy nature, and tech that can literally merge with living animals, it all leads to one big, obvious question. Where is this all going?
And I'm going to leave you with this one final thought. A question that comes straight from the source material. It might sound a little weird, maybe even funny at first, but the point behind it is dead serious. Once you get it to work with pigeons, what's to stop this tech from being used on, say, cats, or dogs, or any other animal? Because once you break that biological barrier with one species, doing it with others gets a whole lot easier. And that really forces us to think about what a future with this kind of technology actually looks like.